Alright guys, TacticalRab here, and today I hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. Welcome to the 2023 season of the Call of Duty League, which has now officially begun. Free agents can sign new deals as of right now. We will get announcements as to which players are going to go to which teams over the coming days, especially because some of these teams' rosters are starting to become clearer. We saw the Rocket news yesterday. Today, two more big rumours to discuss. Arcitys' next direction as well, but obviously a significant downgrade to where he was on FaZe. Very much into your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. Thank you for 84,000 subscribers we hit yesterday as well. Big milestone, gained so many thousands of subs over the last couple of weeks. Look at the, well, I would say look at the red button, but it's not even red for me anymore. So whatever, color the subscribe button is, just have a look at it and think about what you want to do. This from Clayster real quick, confirming the end of his time with the subliners. We kind of were expecting Clay to go completely rogue and kind of expose everything that happened internally. He's not going to do that yet, and understandably so, because he doesn't want to look like that guy that's just going to go rogue when he's trying to get a spot on another team as it presently stands. As he said, some highs, some lows, getting second with Paco, third with DiamondCon with the standouts for me. Appreciate most of the Starvent players I spent my time with over there, right? Maybe saying, the Crimsix situation maybe wasn't so good, and maybe some of the staff as well didn't live up to Clay's expectations, but we keep it pushing. See you guys next year. It goes on to say that, okay, yeah, Crimball, Paco, and Daryl did enough on the flank, right? Kind of exposing the drama of the internal state within that New York Subliners camp. I'm trying to get a new contract, not leave a bad taste in people's mouth. My truth will come out eventually. So saying, look, he's going to try and get a new deal, whether it's on Boston, which is possible, we shall see here in a second, whether it's on Las Vegas. I guess those are probably the two key targets that Clayster will look to go to at the present time. But wherever he ends up, I think eventually we are going to hear Clayster's side of the story on what's happened internally within that New York Subliners camp last season. This just to mention from Paulix, JP Cressing. Of course, JP no longer the analyst for the Subliner, so it's not necessarily like he knows what they're thinking internally, but to my understanding, Paulix is still not part of their plans. They're going to try and build around Hydra if they can keep him, which they probably will. We'll discuss FaZe later today on what they might do, but they still might want Hydra. I think Hydra probably is more than 50% likely to stay with the New York Subliners as it presently stands. They want to build around Hydra and Kismet, I think, then plus Skies as the men they are. They would need, of course, a flex in that case, but Paulix is probably not going to be that guy. He's going to try and go elsewhere if he can get a spot. Maybe a team like London, maybe a team even like, of course, the Las Vegas Legion could be an option. He did tweet this out before deleting it immediately with him in the Royal Ravens jersey, of course, that he subbed in for them briefly this season. Did a pretty good job for them, right? And we don't really know what London are planning to do because all their players are free agents. Afro's probably going to go over there to Minnesota Rockers, who looked at yesterday, alongside Cammy, Attach, and Bance. That's the present rumour for if you guys missed it over there. And therefore, what do London do, right? They probably keep Zero, but then you've got guys like, they've got to really get a guy like Wardy, I think, as one of the top prospects in the European Challenger side as an SMG player if they're going to lose Afro. So I'd say get Wardy, and then, of course, Beans is a potential target as well. He might be the flex, though. So, yeah, Paulix to London, maybe on the cards, maybe not on the cards. Speaking briefly of that Minnesota Rocket roster, this some attached. Rostermania is getting crazy. Here he is in the tub with a cigar, and actually Reppin kind of replies with this Mike Tyson, not really a gif, but it's a short video where he effectively says, sign the contract, big boy. Now, Reppin, of course, works for version 1. I think he's kind of higher up now than just Rocker, but he's still related to Rocker. So kind of saying Attach, yes, he might be returning to Minnesota. Of course, Attach hasn't taken any of the Minnesota stuff, despite being an unrestricted free agent out of his bio. We expect they're going to give him the bag to return alongside Cammy, and then Attach, and of course, it's going to be there as the AR duo, and then Afro and Bance on the SMGs, which I personally really like. I think it's a fair bit better than the team that Arcitys is seemingly forming over on Los Angeles Grillers. This a first indication. Neptune, Arcitys likes this tweet, so this stuff's happening all over the shop, but it does seem that Los Angeles Grillers is practically set now for next season. The rumours were emerging that Arcitys was signed to LAG. This is pretty much the first organisation that I heard was going to be trying to get Arcitys because they have the deep pockets, right? They have the money. The buyout from Arcitys and FaZe here is, look, we know the number that I mentioned a few days ago, about $500,000 per year for Hydra's kind of yearly salary over on the New York Subliners. Arcitys buyout was not too far below that. I think it was a bit below that, but not too far below that. So that's the kind of money we're talking about here to get Arcitys off FaZe. That's why I guess they extended him. I do wonder how long FaZe have actually wanted to get rid of Arcitys for, whether this has been a plan for ages. We'll talk about them later today because who they get is far from guaranteed right now. They may be losing out on a lot of their potential targets. But it does seem like LAG have pulled the trigger and bought Arcitys from Atlanta FaZe. Apparently this move has already gone through actually. And apparently he's going to join LAG for the upcoming season. On paper, I kind of like it, right? They've got the money, Arcitys goes there, could build a pretty good team. The team they're building though, I think a lot of people would say is rather underwhelming. underwhelming, especially considering where Arcitys just was, but also considering the team they could potentially have built, and whether it's even an upgrade on what they had last year is a bit of a question mark. We'll see that here in a second. Like, look, they might try and still get Hydra. It's looking unlikely at the moment. This was then the rumour team of 4. Now, Sparts, Neptune, and Hook. We've known that these 3 guys have been a team of 3 for quite some time, and I honestly thought this could be a perfect team of 3 to go to Florida. I thought it was kind of a Florida caliber trio, decent players, nothing spectacular here. Like, Sparks, great search and destroy player. I do think Sparks generally rather underrated, really, as a player at the present time. He was obviously a very crucial part of their victory last year at Stage 2. Yes, the Volk thing was going on, but he was good in the respawns as well, even without the Volk, and also in search and destroy, he's always been great. So Sparks, I think, is a decent player, but I did wonder, really, Los Angeles Guerrillas, when they released Gunless as an unrestricted free agent, I was like, well, okay, if you're getting rid of Gunless for free, then you must have a great idea as who you want to be your flex, right? Like, and I didn't really think they would choose Sparta over Gunless in a straight head-to-head. I thought they were going to look for a Cammy or, you know, someone like this as a flex player to step in for Gunless. Now it just seems Spart's going to be their flex guy, Arcitys the NER, and then Neptune and Hook as the SMGs. Like, I don't really hate this SMG duo, but I don't particularly like it, to be honest, right? Hook's been underwhelming the last couple of years. Neptune, we do know his ceiling, but also, like, is Neptune really going to be the super aggro first guy, and Hook's going to be the more slaying SMG? Like, it can work, but it relies on Neptune being really good, and we haven't necessarily seen that from him, like, well, outside of very briefly at the end of the Cold War season, and even then he wasn't always on the SMG. So it's definitely an interesting one to me, this team they're putting together, and that for Arcitys especially, because, like, if they do indeed do this, and as Crone says, the buyout apparently was pretty huge, not exactly like that surprising, and going on to say that this buyout has already happened, right? He says the buyout was huge, it was basically done a few days ago, so this deal is set. Arcitys no longer on FaZe, he's going to be on the Los Angeles Guerrillas. The team is rumoured to be Arcitys, Hook, Sparta, Neptune. So look, Arcitys as the NER. The first question is really, if you're Los Angeles Guerrillas, did you actually need to make this move? Because SlasheR was there as the AR, they extended all of their players. SlasheR is now going to have to look for new options elsewhere, we'll see here in a second. So Arcitys for SlasheR, right? I think, like, in general, that can be, like, look, it's an upgrade on some fronts, I think it's a downgrade on other fronts. Arcitys is probably a better teammate than SlasheR, he's probably going to bring more consistency to the team, he's arguably going to get more out of these younger guys than SlasheR might be able to, but in terms of pure skill ceiling, I think that SlasheR can be a better player on his day, and, you know, of course, they're both proven winners at that point, so I think, like, if I had to just take a 50-50, I'd probably take Arcitys over SlasheR, but still, in terms of ceiling and floor, I think that whatever team SlasheR is on, their ceiling is going to be high, I think, but their floor can be rather low, so that's a question with Los Angeles Guerrillas. This season, I mean, we saw it, right? Their ceiling was very high, they won an event, and their floor was very low indeed, they didn't even make the World Championship. I think this team is more likely to make the World Championship next year than a team would be with SlasheR on, but I think they're also less likely to win an event, if you know what I mean, because less likely to just hit that crazy high level, and we don't really know what Arcitys can do on a, like, pure AR role where he's going to be required to slay to a certain extent. But I think really it's the rest of the team and the SMG duo that's the big question mark. Hook and Neptune, to me, seems pretty underwhelming. I think that they can keep one of these guys. Personally, I am surprised they're keeping both of them, just because they didn't really do much this year, and I thought really when they extended these guys, their plan might have been to sell some of them on. But again, Hook and Neptune on the SMGs, I'm not really so convinced, to be honest, especially given the other teams that are forming that have more theoretical firepower, and you could probably expect to be better than these guys. Like, it seems, you know, Arcitys, a lot of people are saying, wow, you know, this is the team that he forms. It's pretty tough. He's getting the bag, but, you know, it's maybe not where he would like to be, and maybe where he could have been on a team like Seattle Surge, for example, as their NER, would have had, I think, a much higher ceiling and floor, I think, in fairness, than this team as it currently stands. Now, like, still, we don't really know. The game isn't even out yet. We don't know how good these players are going to be. Like, Hook was great at Modern Warfare originally, right? It's very tough to call. Things can change around. Unexpected teams can be very good, but, like, if this team is better than, like, top 8, top 7, like, I'd be relatively surprised given the other teams that are forming. I think Arcitys can do a good job, but I'm not exactly blown away by this team, to be perfectly honest. And this is also another thing confirming it pretty much. Asim confirms he's a restricted free agent for the new season, right? Saying that, okay, yes, he's been released. So in terms of SMGs, Asim is no longer part of their plans, implying that Hook and Neptune probably is going to be their SMG plans, given they extended all of these guys they had last season. Interesting for Asim, right? Because last year he did have the opportunity to go to the Florida Mutineers, and if he had have left Los Angeles Guerrillas at the time and gone to Florida, he would probably have still been on their team, right? He might have helped them make champs, who knows? As it stands, he's now no longer going to be on Los Angeles Guerrillas starting team. Who's going to buy out Asim? It seems pretty tough to see that's going to happen. There's other targets out there that are unrestricted, so Asim might just end up on the bench this year, and it honestly could step back into the team at somewhat if the team fails to perform, but I kind of see Asim sitting on the bench this season for Los Angeles Guerrillas, which might be pretty tough for him, especially when he wants to compete, but at the same time, I guess, you know, maybe he's getting more money doing this than he would have done going to the the Florida Mutineers? That's a question that you might want to consider regardless. Just a couple of further indications, right? Arcitys kind of replies to this. What are your thoughts on LA? Beautiful place, you know, why would you be asking me about Los Angeles? Completely coincidental. And then even this replies to Spart, what's good Twitter, sup, how the Black Ops 4 trial's going, just waiting for you to join up. So pretty much confirming this is indeed going to be the case. Let's talk about SlasheR then, right? So if Arcitys is coming in for SlasheR, which of course I don't hate, I'm just not particularly a big fan of not changing anything with the rest of the team. This is where SlasheR could potentially go. This is an option, but this is far from guaranteed. The team of 3, though, over on Boston is rumored to be Vivid and Nero, as we expected on the SMG side, plus Awakening. This is what I really like. I was hoping that a team like Boston would give Awakening a go, because yes, Awakening and Vivid on the Florida days, like they teamed together on Florida. It seems like, I don't know if there was friction between those guys, maybe not, but still, it's kind of incredible that Ogre 2 has allowed this potentially to form, right? The 2 best players from Florida the last couple of years, arguably ending up here over on the Boston Breach alongside Nero. So I do really like this. I mean, the firepower on this team is great, right? Vivid and Nero, they can be a real good SMG duo, like a very impactful SMG duo, and then Awakening as the flex. I think that's really good. You're going to need to pair them with their main AR, though, with some experience, with some leadership, and this is, to me, the SlasheR question mark, because I really like this team of 3, but as Crone says, it's not confirmed yet who the main AR is going to be. Nero, Vivid, and Awakening should be pretty much as it is. So that is the team of 3, plus 1 AR. Now, what AR are they going to go for? Because they do, of course, have Methodz still there. I don't hate the Methodz idea at all. I do think that, okay, keeping Methodz on the team with Awakening, Nero, Vivid, like that should be an upgrade over TJ in that role last year. Like, of course, it does depend, though, how much you get out of Awakening, how much does he play for kills, but I think with a good experienced man AR and the good coaching staff that Boston have, maybe compared to Florida, like, they can probably do a better job in maximizing the potential that we've seen in Awakening for many years and has been activated at times, but often you don't see his teams getting results. So I do like it. The question is, who's the AR going to be? Are they going to keep Methodz? I would be honestly somewhat surprised if they do, but of course they still perfectly well can. There's probably like 3, maybe 4 key targets if they wanted to consider Crimsix, but I would say maybe Crim, maybe Clayster, I think will be a big one that he'll want to go to a team like this. Also, well, SlasheR you've got to consider as well. So to me, the question is, okay, maybe SlasheR, maybe Clayster, maybe Methodz, right, as your 3 kind of key targets you might be considering here, because SlasheR going to need a team as well. So this is the question again that Boston Breach have. If they want a team that's going to be better than last year's, but still not do anything spectacular, I think Methodz is probably your guy, right? Because he's going to have maybe a lower floor, but a higher ceiling than some of these other players. It seems going to be more consistent, but maybe not anything special. Whereas if you bring in a SlasheR, then you do have probably higher upsides, but you have, higher downside, right? The team could explode, the chemistry might not work. That is a risk with SlasheR, but of course he does have his benefits. So it's like, okay, do Boston want to be a team challenging for event wins, or do they want to be a team that's, middle of the pack, but actually pretty solid and taking steps forward from last year? Clayster, I think, is in somewhat of a similar boat to SlasheR. He doesn't quite maybe have the upside of slaying, but he does have the potential upside to get a lot out of these other players. But then again, the Clayster thing is the chemistry could go haywire again. So that's the question they will have to answer. So I would consider a few different ARs, and they've just got to decide what their team purpose is here. I really like this team of 3. They've got to think, okay, who do they put with these guys, and what is their actual intention as an organization this year? So definitely intrigued to your thoughts on all this in the comment section below. Apparently they have not decided yet between either those 3 guys I mentioned or others that could be on the consideration as well. So that's what's going on right now, we understand, with Los Angeles Gullers and with the Boston Breach. Which team do you guys prefer? Because we know the entire roster for the Los Angeles Gullers, we believe at the present time, but and even this from Nero, right, and Awakening, they're kind of having a back and forth here on Twitter, kind of not confirming, of course, but giving a solid indication this is indeed going to be the team over at Boston Breach. I really like that team of 3, but I think they're going to need an AR that can get the best out of those guys and also put up some good numbers. I personally would take the risk on SlasheR, because as Aches would say, you always pack a punch, but at the same time, you do lose out on what Methodz can bring to the team as well. So it's an interesting decision they will have to make, but definitely intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below on what you would do if you were the general manager of this team. And I'm sure Methodz right now is very much thinking, well, look, if they do choose another player over me here, then where does Methodz potentially go? Because there are not many AR spots left in this league right now, especially with Cellium and Arcitys now both being main ARs. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit on the like button. Tell us the YouTube gods, this is a good video. Others like you should see it as well. And I grow the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.